A man is rock climbing. The next second, the huge boulder he's using for support suddenly gives way. He tumbles into the valley with the rock. His arm gets wedged in a crevice between a 300-pound boulder and the canyon wall. Trapped in a remote mountain canyon, he has no food, no water, and can't move. He endures this for 5 days, 127 hours straight. To survive, he grits his teeth and performs 3 self-amputation procedures on himself. This is a true story. The man's name is Aaron Ralstow, an extreme sports enthusiast. He heads to Blue John Canyon in Utah, USA. Before leaving, he only packs essential climbing gear, minimal food and water, and rushes out, leaving his phone at home. While the travel guide says the trip takes at least 4.5 hours, he's convinced he can cut 45 minutes off by taking a different route. But reality hits fast. Speeding too fast, Aaron crashes and gets flung off his feet. But the next moment he pulls a camera from his pocket and takes a selfie right where he fell. Arriving at the edge of Blue John Canyon, he sees a clear blue sky with snowy clouds drifting over towering mountains. Hiking into the canyon, he soon meets 2 lost women. Bored and looking to help, he volunteers to be their guide. He decides to take them on a thrilling new route. In a narrow slot canyon, one woman asks nervously, "What if a rock up there comes loose?" Aaron shrugs casually. "That's where you're wrong. Everything in this world is moving, all the time." As he finishes, he slips into the abyss. The women shriek in panic, but soon his loud, cheerful singing echoes from the ridge. Urged on by Aaron, the women leap down after him and discover a hidden wonder, a deep, crystal-clear blue lake. They splash around in the water with Aaron. Before leaving, they take photos together and invite him to join a party tomorrow night. After parting ways, Aaron heads toward the canyon's big waterfall. By the time he reaches the climbing area, it's 2:45 p.m. He scurries through the crevices, nimble as a monkey. As he plants his foot on the cliff face to climb down, a loose rock suddenly breaks free and crashes down. Aaron tumbles to the bottom. And the worst part? The rock pins his right hand solidly between itself and the canyon wall. Trapped between the boulder and the cliff, his hand is immobile. He can't move an inch. After years of extreme sports, Aaron knows the score. He's stuck in a dead end. Aaron's right hand is pinned between the rock and the cliff, but he doesn't panic. First, he tries shoving the boulder. No luck. The massive stone is lodged so tightly, it might as well be rooted in the ground. With only one arm to push, he can't budge it an inch. When pushing fails, he kicks at the rock with his feet. After struggling for ages, the boulder still won't move. He's drenched in sweat, exhausted. Quickly, he clamps the water bottle between his legs, twists off the cap, and gulps down several sips. He tightens the cap immediately. He knows it's the last of his water. He checks the time on his watch, then starts yelling for help. But the canyon is deserted. No one for miles, not even a bird. After half an hour of shouting, Aaron gives up. To find a way out, he lays out all his gear and realizes, no phone. Searching through everything, the only useful tool is the knife in his hand. Aaron grabs his knife and starts hacking at the rock crevice, thinking that smoothing the boulder's edge might let him shift it and free his hand. But after furious hacking, his hand is almost cramping, and the stone hasn't budged. To make matters worse, the knife slips from his grasp and clatters to the ground. Stuck with his hand in the crack, he can't reach it. He takes off his shoes and socks, trying to grab the knife with his toes. So close, but no luck. Finally, he finds a stick, uses his foot to clamp it, and manages to hook the knife back up. After hours of struggling, the blade grows dull, useless for grinding the rock. Then, the worst. Night falls, and the canyon temperature plummets. Death feels like it's closing in. Exhausted from the day, Aaron dozes off, but a backward lean jolts him awake with searing arm pain. He devises a plan, ties a climbing rope into a loop, tosses it over a rock edge, and fastens the other end to his body. Anchored to the cliff, he finally gets some solid sleep. Trapped in the crevice, Aaron has only a few crackers and 12 ounces of fresh water left. It's clear he can't last long. Worse than the food is the temperature. With huge day-night swings, the canyon freezes at night. The next morning, when the sun rises, its light streams into the crevice. Aaron quickly sticks out his foot to feel the warmth. He's never felt sunlight so comforting. Knowing his odds are slim, he takes out a camera and starts recording, describing his ordeal and naming his family. Looking into the lens, he's overwhelmed with regret. Regret for not bringing his phone. It's been 24 hours since he got stuck. His hand, starved of blood, is starting to decay. Food and water are almost gone, and he feels his survival hanging by a thread. Suddenly, dirt trickles down from above. Thinking someone might be passing by, he yells desperately. No response, maybe just an animal. Watching his own tormented reflection in the camera, he can only muster the will to keep going, to not give up. Aaron's arm is wedged in a crevice between a 600-pound boulder. He's nibbling on his last bits of food, taking tiny bites. The water's almost gone. He has to ration every sip. If not for this accident, he'd be at that girl's party right now, chugging an ice-cold beer, maybe even having a memorable hookup. Aaron passes out again, half-conscious. By day 3, he makes a pulley system with his climbing rope, trying to pry the boulder loose with all his weight. But lifting it would need a whole set of lifting gear and 8 burly guys. No surprise, the plan fails again. Worse, his fresh water is almost gone. He's craving juice, beer. His lips are so chapped they're bleeding. He can only wet his throat with a tiny sip. He fills his water bladder with urine, knowing it might save his life later. Meanwhile, he keeps scraping at the rock with his knife. That's when he realizes his hand is holding the boulder in place. If the rock shifts, his hand will get crushed even tighter. Aaron's been trapped for 30 hours, and he finally makes the gut-wrenching decision. He'll amputate his arm to survive. He unbuckles his belt to fashion a makeshift tourniquet, but his knife is so dull that it can't even break the skin. He looks into the camera and cracks a bitter joke. Next time I go out, I'm definitely buying a decent knife. His first amputation attempt ends in failure. In a delirious haze, Aaron sees his mom and dad, his sister playing the piano brightly in front of the camera, and most notably, his ex-girlfriend. They're partying hard, having the time of their lives. Suddenly, a thunderclap jolts him back to reality. It rarely rains here, but now the sky's pitch black with storm clouds. Aaron instinctively holds up his shirt to catch the rain, gulping it down desperately. Then, it hits him. He's in a low-lying area. If the rain keeps pouring, this place will flood. A wild idea strikes. With all this water rushing in, maybe the buoyancy and force could help him break free. Aaron takes a deep breath and crouches underwater, pushing the boulder with all his might in the direction of the current. Against all odds, the rock actually starts to shift, thanks to the water's force and buoyancy. He yanks his injured arm free, gasping for air, then swims like hell with the current. Finally, he pulls himself onto a rock and races to his car, speeding home. But when he stumbles through the door soaking wet, his girlfriend acts like he's invisible. Wait, turns out it was all a fever dream. Aaron's been trapped for 4 days now, teetering on the brink of death. Memories flood his mind. He reflects on his arrogance, his coldness toward his family. He remembers the missed call from his mom and how things might have been different if he'd just called her back. Maybe he wouldn't die alone in this canyon. After chugging his last sip of water, he jams the dull knife into his arm. The pain is unbearable, so he tightens the tourniquet, but the blade's too dull to cut through bone, only slicing the flesh. His second amputation attempt ends in failure too. Aaron's been trapped for 4.5 days. His strength is almost gone, and his mind's on the verge of breaking. In sheer desperation, he carves his epitaph into the rock wall, ready to accept death. Flies circle around him, as if they can already smell the end. In a daze, fragments of his past flash before his eyes. He even starts to think this boulder is his destiny, like he's been walking toward it his whole life, ever since the day he was born. The camera pans to the wall. Aaron Ralston rests here, 1975 to 2003. Is he really dead? Just then, a beam of light sweeps across his face. He slowly opens his eyes and sees a child. Aaron's playing with him, but he can't tell if it's a memory from his childhood or a life he never got to live. In that moment, something snaps inside him. His will to survive roars back. He has too many regrets with his family. He's never married or had kids, and there's so much he still wants to do. He refuses to die here. With a new resolve, Aaron decides to amputate his arm, this time for real. It's the 5th day, and Aaron's right hand is still wedged in the rock. He's so desperate that he's drinking his own urine to survive. Using the boulder for leverage, he grits his teeth and forcefully snaps his arm. Then, with his dull, worn-out knife, he stabs into the wound and starts cutting through his flesh and tendons, bit by bit. The excruciating pain makes him laugh hysterically, and he nearly passes out. But his will to live prevails. He finally does it. His body is free, but his severed arm remains stuck in the crevice. He stands there, stunned, as if unable to believe what he just did. After calming down, he wraps his stump with a bandage to stop the bleeding. Before leaving, he takes a photo of the boulder that held him captive for 127 hours, a twisted souvenir of his ordeal. With newfound freedom, Aaron stumbles through the canyon. Luck strikes again. Climbers left carabiners on the rock face, allowing him to rappel down to the bottom and refill his water. With a full canteen, he keeps moving forward, driven by hope.
I need help!
We're gonna cut my arm off.
Rescuers start arriving, and soon, a helicopter hovers overhead, its blades kicking up a storm of sand. Aaron is finally, truly saved. The last shot of the movie shows Aaron, now an amputee, leaping out of a pool. What he sees is exactly what he envisioned during his hallucination in the canyon. His family sitting on the couch, their eyes filled with warmth. When the camera pans again, the person on the couch is the real Aaron Ralston, the climber whose story inspired this film. 127 Hours is a 2010 film by British director Danny Boyle. Here's a tip. If a movie's plot seems too wild to be fiction, it probably isn't. So, what matters most in life? As this film shows, it's the people we think of in our final moments. Family, friends, loved ones. The bonds we share with them, that's what gives our lives meaning. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. See you next time.